beautiful souls. I hope you're doing well. In today's CIT, Creative Intuitive Transmission session, which bears the title Terran, Twin Flame, and Source Love, we will be looking at the chiyogami paper collage that we've created that is entitled Lonkaïl, that you see spelled here. But before we go into the iconographical analysis of this representation or of this collage, as usual, we will have a look at the music that was inspired by my guidance, which, as keep reminding you, my guidance is the Mella Collective, which is a collective consciousness and soul group I am a part of. No channeling, and it's not a hive consciousness. It's really about me connecting with my heart and with my soul through the heart to this beautiful consciousness I'm part of. So when I say they, I should say we, because we're part of this collective, this benevolent high frequency collective that is while I'm here on Terra incarnated, it's supporting me and helping me and offering humble messages like today to help me and others. Also part of this beautiful Mella collective that originated in the Altian system, NGC 7331, on the planet Tails. Also from there, and we traveled through different star systems after that in Nataru here, through different successive lifetimes. In this connection is also with my twin flame named Ariel, which I've talked about a few times in a few videos, and I'm not gonna address this question here again, but if you read my blog post that usually accompanies these CIT sessions, or all my blog posts, I often talk about who the Mella Collective are, and I give reference to who Ariel is. The reason why I'm talking about Ariel today is because the topic of today has to do, in a way, I thought it was going towards a very specific kind of viewers, which would be starseeds that are actually envoy starseeds, meaning that they're part of a program of incarnation here on Terra, which has to do, to help consciousness on Terra to rise. And as the beautiful video that Elena Danaan shared on the topic of the Twin Flame mission, a genius plan in the Envoy program, which I invite you to have a look at, which is the link is going to be in the description of this video. She really talks about this whole question of how certain Envoy starseed are constitute they constitute a binôme with another starseed that's not incarnated on Terra. And it's kind of the ground crew versus the up crew, the upstairs crew. And often the being that's on Terra can go through some challenging times being here, often in some sort of amnesia, or knowing that they have a love up there, but sometimes they have difficulty connecting with this love. So I thought it was going that way, but I realized that through the music and also through the message I was receiving, again, from the Mella Collective, from within, from my higher self and my heart, is that it goes beyond that, because it's a universal message regarding perhaps our feeling as Terran humans, who sometimes feel a feeling of loneliness, of isolation, regarding our place on Terra, and a feeling of being, for different reasons, that we're not connected to either our twin flame, in this case, if it's a case of an envoy program, it's starseed, or perhaps we're missing this connection with source that sometimes we feel is we don't know how to reconnect with source as a fractal of source, and we feel like we're missing this really essential part. And but also sometimes we feel confused and we can feel challenged by the fact that we don't know how to experience love on Terra as well, which is also something the video by Elena discusses, which I think is really interesting. So the point about today's session is to really touch on the different aspects of this love relationship, and also mostly the notion of um, feeling of longing and loneliness. Sometimes we feel, not all the time, but sometimes we feel, and regarding a feeling of being complete, through the connection with another. And this other can be connection on Terra, but it can be also a connection to someone else upstairs, or it can be to our own connection to source, And so I realize in the end, it's quite universal in terms of message. The reason why this message was shared today probably has to do with my own personal experience. I always share in my CITs that, often the messages that are shared by the Mella Collective are grounded into my own experiences that I'm going through on a daily basis. And that also gives me the opportunity to talk from experience, to share from experience, but also to be true, to be authentic and vulnerable and share about my experiences. So this way, other people can also relate perhaps to similar, situations. And this way, I feel like I'm connected to you guys in the way that I'm bringing, my own vulnerability here. So before I go into describing the music, I want to share a little bit of an experience about, lately I have felt that, I know I'm part of the Mella Collective, and that I'm connected to my twin flame named Ariel, and, my son upstairs, Inan, and everything. But there's moments when I have a tough time connecting with them. And I don't necessarily have a direct connection. Some starseeds, they say that, their twin flame actually, appears in the room and physically, or they can see them, or they can have a real tangible contact. For example, Elena, or, she has a direct contact with Thorhan. And but for all envoy starseeds that are in the binôme program, in this binôme kind of relationship with someone upstairs, it's not always that tangible and that physical. And sometimes it can be very painful for the Terran starseed, who's just feeling the loneliness and feeling the longing for the other, and perhaps wondering, why can't they connect? Why isn't this connection made? Sometimes it can have to do with an actual soul decision from the Terran starseed to say, well, don't come and see me, because I need to live this life on Terra by myself, and I need to experience certain things. And so our soul knows, but our ego and our mind and our heart sometimes is like, well, I miss him or her, and how come we can't connect? How come? How come? But then maybe the soul knows better and knows that there's probably a reason. Or maybe it's not the right timing. Maybe it will come at a later time. Maybe it's because we need the opportunity to experience Terran love, rather than just being in a longing of a star nation or starseed love with someone upstairs. So there's many, many, many different reasons why some of us, as um, Terran starseed, if you want, are experiencing sometimes this longing, and this feeling of lack. And so this is something I'm experiencing these days more than ever. I always do. And I'll be authentic with you. I haven't been in a real serious relationship for 15 years with anyone, with any man. And the reason for that is that I always felt that no man I had met was really giving me the impression that I was at the same kind of level of relationship, or of complicity, of equality, as I have with Ariel upstairs, my twin flame. And it's always been very, very, very hurtful and challenging for me to always feel like, oh no, it's not that, it's not that. And that's why for 15 years now I've been a loner and by myself. And it's not that I'm not open to meeting someone special. It's just that, every time I have a meeting in a relationship, I've tried relationships with someone, it's always been kind of, nope, that's not it. And like Elena Danaan talks in her video about twin flames, it's kind of normal because the type of love you experience on Terra will never have the same intensity and complicity as the love you have with your twin flame upstairs. And some starseed actually incarnate with their twin flame on Terra, which is beautiful, and good for them, because it must be much less lonely. But for those who are binôme, it's much tougher. It's much more challenging. However, we should always remain with our heart open, because we never know. There might be love, coming either on Terra or maybe from our twin flame upstairs in a different kind of way, maybe less physical, more intuitive, more a heart connection. Or with a Terran person, it can be a beautiful new way of experiencing love in a new form of relationship. So we need to keep our heart open and not, have these preconceived idea of what love is. And this message I'm saying is something I need to hear myself. So, I wanted to share that with you. And that obviously, this message emerged as well from the music that inspired us today. The first piece of music is, funny enough, is entitled "Love is Just Around the Corner," which gave me hope. I was like, okay, does that mean that there's, a beautiful Terran coming around? Or maybe there is probably a possibility with the civilian contact, extraterrestrial contact, that perhaps I'll be able to finally see Ariel in a physical manner. So I was like, okay, so that's encouraging. And Love is Just Around the Corner is a beautiful piece of music and song that was actually written in the 1930s, in 1934, by Jansler and Robin. And the piece we're listening today is interpreted by Pee Wee Russell, who is actually a clarinet and a saxophone musician. And it has this kind of Mississippi Dixieland kind of feel to it. So it's quite joyful, actually. It's quite a joyful piece of music. And, the title is obviously quite inspiring. So I'm thinking, okay, so maybe that was a sign that, maybe loneliness is not forever. And maybe maybe love is to be encountered in ways that are unexpected, so one has to keep our heart open. The second piece of music that was inspired to me is one of my favorite classical pieces of music, which is Clair de Lune, or Moonlight, by Claude Debussy, a French composer of at the turn of the 20th century. And it's interesting because I was wondering, I really love this piece of music. And for me, I've always associated, I did a post recently with a photography entitled Mui. It was about this film, the Scent of Green Papaya, where we have this beautiful character, Mui, which is a great inspiration for me for connection to source and mindfulness, and being, in a way, incarnating the kind of Buddha energy just by being a mindful, simple presence, And there's a beautiful scene in that movie where the Clair de Lune is actually playing while this beautiful young servant girl just does her thing in such a meditative way, in such a beautiful way. It's so inspiring that it reminds us that love is also not just about loving someone, but also love is a state of being, like joy, where you do things in a loving state. You're present, you're loving in every gesture, in every object that you touch. And that's a way to be connected to a profound love, but a different kind of love, perhaps not a passionate physical love, but more a love of life, love of presence. And through that type of love, you're connected to source. You're connected to the fractal of source that you are. So again, this piece of music brings a different perspective to this whole question of the longing for love, which sometimes has to do with our longing for our connection to, or love to source. It's not just about missing certain beings incarnated here or upstairs. Sometimes it's about, all of this is really kind of a metaphor for our disconnection with source and the fractal of source that we are, and that inner love that, it's important for us to have for ourselves. And because when we are connected to that inner love, we're automatically connected to that source love. And then perhaps we're less in the longing for another because we are connected to that golden love for source. So, it gives different perspective about the longing, because maybe it's about remembering that it's also about seeing things in a much broader perspective, where love is beyond love for another, even as strong as, twin flame relationships can be. I mean, it's so powerful. But, reminding ourselves that we are connected to love through self-love and love to source as well. So I think the music bring two complementary, beautiful messages there. Then we have a background, which, made me laugh, because it was so, again, those things are chosen, they're inspired to me. I don't choose them. And, randomly, this beautiful, a beautiful background was inspired to me, which you can see is a man and a woman, which, doesn't matter which gender, a couple, a love relationship, two beings that love each other are actually standing on the beautiful planet, which is, to me, reminds me a lot of the Altean Taïl's energy, because, as I've shared in a previous video, and you can find the links under the description of this video, Taïls I've described is really like a long white beaches of white sands with golden reflections in the sand. And it's this, anyway, the different lives I've lived in Taïls is I've been a marine being, all kinds of beings, also humanoid. And so I thought it was interesting to see this beautiful background, because for me, it really touched upon the notion of starseed love, and specifically this notion of the envoy starseed love, where, there's that longing, but then, there's a place out there where we can be reunited as envoy starseeds. And it's just a question of being patient, or a question of, reminding ourselves and remembering that we're never really alone, and that we are connected to these beings. If our heart are connected, if our hearts are opened, but also we are connected to source, which is also represented through this beautiful kind of, starlight, and the magical sky, where, all these stars are always fractals of source itself. So it's like this beautiful connection there that I thought was kind of a wink there to the fact that we're never alone. And even if we're longing for our partners or for our home worlds, there's always, in us, a quantum connection through the heart and the soul to them. And we should just try to go inside, going within, to reconnect with that. So this way the longing is not as intense. So that's for the beautiful background. Now our collage, which is entitled Lonkaïl, is represent, well, this whole notion of love in different forms is represented through this Japanese washi chiyogami paper collage, where you see a background, a navy blue background, made of what are little stars or little flowers. It really reminds me of a heavenly sky, like our background, full of stars. So again, it connects us through the whole, starseed connection there of the longing, but also to the connection of source. And then we have these two central circles, the lower one, which is a yellow paper with these reeds or branches of what could be a grain, or I'm trying to find the right word here. But anyway, it's really plant oriented, very vegetal. And for me, it really represents the starseed that it's connected to Terra, that's really anchored in the Terra reality of, the soil, the plants, and everything like that. Then we have the upper circle, which with the stars and blue and gold, for me also represents perhaps the connection to our star families, or our twin flame, or perhaps the people we're missing upstairs. In my case, it represented in some way Ariel, which is, my loved one. And then, there's this connection between both of them through the heart, which in this collage is represented by the small red circle, which represents the connection of the heart. And each of these large circles, the upper and lower one, have within themselves a smaller circle. The upper circle has a central golden circle with the flower of life motif, which, as always, represents the connection to source. So the lower circle is perhaps missing and connected through the heart to the upper circle, which is in one way, the star family or just twin flame, but also to the central circle of source. So there's this, it's not just about people sometimes we miss, sometimes it's the connection to source itself. In the lower large circle, we have a smaller one, which is navy blue and represents a black, blue background, navy blue background with golden waves, which represents, for me in this case, the waves always represent challenges for me. So in this case, we could see this as the challenges of being on Terra in this yellow energy and perhaps missing the navy blue energy from upstairs, maybe source or the loved one. But then from this challenge emerges the two branches, the golden branches, which again are made from the same paper, golden paper, with the flower of life, which represents the connection to source. So the challenge of being on Terra, connected on Terra, but missing or feeling the contrast of the lack of source or the lack of the other is an experience in itself. It's a treasure to experience the lack of love, because it's the opportunity for us to reconnect with it. Because when we're filled with love upstairs, we don't have the opportunity to experience the lack of it, which we're doing when we come on Terra. And that's a beautiful experience to know the contrast of lacking that love. So this way we can go within and learn to reconnect with it consciously, with not as an effort per se, but as a conscious intention. And that from that experience emerges the connection to source, and it's a beautiful treasure that we experience through this lack of or through this contrast, let's say. So I thought it was a beautiful, inspiring message, because it's not just about, oh, I'm missing my twin flame, I'm missing my family upstairs, or it's also reminding ourselves that, the connection to these beings, to ourselves, and to source is something that we can consciously and intentionally do through that going within, through the inner voyage or journey of connection through our heart. And we're never alone. They're all here. It's just sometimes we ourselves veil that connection through, perhaps we're in low vibration, or we're going through difficult challenges, and it veils that connection. But that doesn't mean they're not there. So we're never alone. So that's a beautiful kind of reminder for me and for all of you, that we're not alone, even when we're kind of missing and we feel a bit impatient to find them again. And, we're discouraged or sad or missing them. There's always that, this message that we can connect to them by going within, through meditation, through music, through dance, through our own specific way of connecting to our loved one. So that's for today. The original collage, as always, is available in my art shop. And if you order an original collage, you will receive as well a handmade card and bookmark, in which I'm going to write handwritten words of high frequency for you. And the collage is also available as a digital file of high quality, same size, 8x10 as the 8x10 as the original, and is also imbued with the same high frequencies that the original is imbued with. And both are available in my art shop as the title Lonkaïl. So I'm going to let you go, and you will be able to listen to those two beautiful pieces of music, which remind us that love is just around the corner. And the Clair de Lune reminds us of that beautiful connection to the love of source, and that it goes beyond, Terran love, or starseed love upstairs, because our connection to source is what reminds us that we are always loved. And our connection to the fractal of source that we are reminds us that we are, first of all, the ones that are loving ourselves the most, and source. And then we have other beings with whom we share a connection of love as well. So while you listen to these two pieces of music, you will be able to watch how Lonkaïl was created, and hopefully it will bring you high vibrations and high frequencies. I send you lots of love. Take immense care of yourself, and keep courage if you're missing those loved ones. Take care. Bye.